Hi all, in this video I will be telling you the story of my trip back home from Odense, Denmark to Calgary, Alberta, Canada. This will include a mini review of the KLM Boeing 737-800 and WestJet 787-9 in economy class. Currently on screen is the train trip from Odense to Copenhagen, as Odense does not have an airport. I stopped over at Copenhagen to do a little shopping before the flights. The next morning I boarded this pink train from Copenhagen Central Station to the airport. I had a tuna poke bowl at Oli Oli, which can be found after security for breakfast, which may be an odd choice, but it was fresh and tasty. But it had pickled ginger, which I cannot stomach. By the way, there are no shots of security or customs, as cameras are not allowed there. A few hours later, the first flight to Amsterdam via the Flying Dutchman Boeing 737-800 arrived. And here's a few shots for your enjoyment. Inside the plane, sitting at seat 18F, the legroom was sufficient. I'm 182 centimeters, or 6 feet tall for reference. Takeoff roll. Out the window we can see Odense Bridge. I may have mispronounced that. It is the longest bridge in Europe, connecting Denmark to Sweden.
The fasten seatbelt sign will be switched off soon. However, we recommend that you keep your seatbelt fastened while seated. And please be careful when opening the overhead bins, as items may have shifted and could fall out.
First food service. This is a whole wheat Beamster cheese and tomato sandwich from Carl Siegert's bakery. Here you can read the description if you wish. The sandwich was kind of plain and tasteless, but perhaps the cabin air had something to do with it. There was no in-flight entertainment, but the flight was only about an hour, so no big deal. Nearing Amsterdam, there were some fluffy clouds, so I took this shot. Here's another landscape shot prior to landing. It was kind of a rough landing, but I suppose it was also windy. Once we got to the gate, a plane was seen on the roof, so here's a shot of that. The layover at Amsterdam Schiphol Airport was 3 hours, which I spent an hour using one of the many charging ports found throughout the airport, and also did some gift shopping. This video was shot on this phone, which it's pretty old now and the battery isn't that good. There was somewhat of a funny moment at customs where an American in front of me in line was asked where he was going, and he replied with, "To home," which was responded with, "Yes, where is that?" And he said Kentucky. Okay, here's the plane that will take me to Canada. I'm joking. We are flying on WestJet, not Air Canada. This one is going to Toronto. Here's our plane just arriving. Seemingly over half the passengers were Ukrainians. In the front row behind and to the right of me were all occupied by them. And you could see like a row prior to boarding of their light blue passports. 2 Canadians sat next to me in my set of 3 seats. And here's a shot of a worker seemingly having a hard time opening the door. Quickly before boarding, I took a shot of an Emirates Airbus A380 because why not? Sitting at seat 10C, an aisle seat on the second row of economy class, there was a commendable amount of legroom. I paid for the cheapest tickets, so choosing my seat was not available to me. The seat comes with a green blanket, one of the trademark colors of WestJet, and a white pillow with WestJet Deltas. Since 10C was not a window seat, we can experience takeoff via the flight data on the in-flight entertainment screen. Soon after takeoff, the first food service came, which was a drink with either pretzels or cookies. I asked for cookies, but the flight attendant, who was quite busy, accidentally gave me pretzels. That's okay. I didn't mind. Second food service was the main meal. It consisted of roasted beef with potato cake and green beans, a potato salad, bread with butter, and a chocolate raspberry muffin. The beef was delicious in this brown sauce and was quite tender. The potatoes seemed to be unseasoned, but salt and pepper packets were provided. The green beans were a bit chewy, but otherwise not too bad. The potato salad with chopped peppers was good, but nothing too special. The bread was fluffy and soft, but the butter was cold and not spreadable. Trying to spread it would damage the bread. The chocolate raspberry muffin was a bit sour due to the raspberry, but the chocolate sweetness balanced it out. The meal came with wooden cutlery to reduce plastic waste, as it were. Overall, I would give it 7 out of 10 for an economy class meal. Oddly, my two neighbors passed on this meal and ate their own food. The other option was vegetarian pasta. And then I went to bed for about 3 hours. I wasn't woken up by turbulence, but it happened about half an hour after that, and it was pretty shaky. One could hear the carry-ons shifting above. While we're here, the in-flight entertainment was decent. It had information regarding the destination city, such as where to lodge, eat, and what to do. It also had movies, shows, and games. Enough to keep you entertained for the 9 hours aboard. And the turbulence was around Greenland, of which some nice glaciers could be seen. The final food service was served an hour before landing, which consisted of a bun filled with red pepper and cheese, and a chocolate muffin. The bun was cold, but filling. The muffin's chocolate was rich and not too sweet, quite enjoyable. The overall flight was also pretty good for what was offered. Once we landed, unlike in both European airports I was at, there were no shops from the gates to customs. All the shops are in the departure floor above. I used the ArriveCan app to do pre-inspection, which simplified the customs process. Otherwise, you could use the many machines there to fill out your customs form. And baggage claim is right after customs. Quickly after exiting, Mother was there to pick me up with tears of joy. I'm home! Thank you all for watching this trip report of my return home after spending about 2 years in Denmark. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't already, please subscribe and like. It's a small gesture from you, but a big benefit for my channel. Bye!